Now, what I do want to do, however, is go ahead and make sure that I understand the communication system, since I need to talk to the tower and then need to talk to my flight. So I'm going to skip ahead to the Chuck Owl guide for the MiG-15, and there's a section in here that's going to be a UHF radio tutorial, which I've read through a few times already, and I think I understand pretty much what's going on. So I think I mentioned during the mission planning for this that we're going to be dealing with a wave number that corresponds to a frequency, and there's also in this guide a list of wave numbers and their corresponding frequencies. So like for example, right now my transmitter is set to a wave number of 150. 150 is going to correspond to 3750 kilohertz or 3.75 megahertz. I think I got the conversion on that right that time. But that's how that works. So you're not going to be dealing with a frequency, you're going to be dealing with the wave number, and the wave number is set through this little sliding lever. Now this is the transmitter, and the receiver is back here. You can see that it also is set to 150 on the wave number. The receiver is going to be adjusted using this dial, and that's the first time I've really looked at this close, but yeah, you can, I was expecting to have to look back there, and as you turn the dial that the wave number starts to go. It started at 150, now it's at 152, but yeah, I can see that it's mirrored right up here, so you just go off of this gauge. If I want 150, I just set it to 150 and I'm ready to go on my receiver. So that's how the frequencies work. Now specifically for Napa, I am at 3.75 megahertz, so the ATC wave number is 150. That was already set up by default for me, and that's the same frequency in fact that my flight is working on. So as an ops check, let me go ahead and press the button right here. That's the mic switch, or it's the transmit receive button. I have that mapped to my HOTAS as well. I'm going to go ATC and Napa request taxi and make sure that I get a response here. Okay, it took a little bit of a delay. Had me worried there for a second. But okay, that's good to go. So this lever is the antenna lock, this lever is the wave lock. Okay, so if I wanted to adjust this, it would just be rotating this dial, and when it comes down to 150, I get a signal strength indicator up here. So I think 150, so I think based on the range of this might be the only one that's in range, that 150 wave number, because that's the only one that's giving me a little spike on my little signal strength gauge right there. Now this one, okay, antenna control, and it looks like this one just I am not sure now. Now I'm confused, because this one has a scale from 150 to 200, and then I've got this one that also goes from 150 to 200. So is it possible that we're working off of like two separate receiver systems here? That this, let me see, that's wave control. This is antenna control. Let me pause here, do some reading. I thought I understood what was going on here, but that threw me for a loop. I'll be right back. Okay, and with a little help of the guide, I think I have that scoped out again. I was thrown off a little bit by the 150 to 200 right here on the antenna control. What this is it's just a sort of like a fine-tune control for the direction of the antenna. So it just kind of is used to fine-tune it and to make sure that the signal strength is as best as you can get it. And I think it might work a little. That might be a little bit more evident if we're anywhere other than 150, the bottom setting of the wave dial. So you set your frequency using, or wave number, which is for our purposes the frequency, and you have this dial that you would then fine-tune to get the best signal strength. So we have a good signal strength, 3. I wonder what the unit on that is. 3-4 decibels maybe for a signal strength coming off of a like a whatever band this is, HF band or whatever. Anyway, yeah, signal strength, yeah. Needle to the right, good. Needle to the left, bad. We'll just leave it at that without having to go dig around into some radio manuals or something. There was one more switch here that although, come to think of it, it does have me curious. That's probably what I'll spend the rest of the day doing now. But I have one more switch here. It's called the forced mode on-off switch. If I wanted to extend the range on the radio, I could switch this switch on, but that has the function of extending the range, but it also has the corresponding function of potentially damaging the system. So that's only for like an emergency type situation that I would turn that on. But I think that's pretty much all there is to the radio. You just set it using this dial for the transmitter. You set your receiver to the corresponding frequency if you want to receive on that same frequency, and you're good. So let me just do a quick comms check with my flight. So let me go flight, and I'll just do rejoin as a comms check. They should be on the same frequency. That's how I set it up in the mission editor, at least. And nothing. What in the world is going on here? Okay, let me try that one more time. Flight. Let's go, how about cover me? How about that as a comms check? Okay, there we go. I've got 3, 2, and 4. Okay, I could have swore that in the past rejoin on the ground would act as a comms check, but yeah, cover me works very well now. So that was with that set of 150. Let me set my receiver somewhere else. I'll set it to 157 and try that. So flight, cover me. So I'm transmitting on wave number 150. I'm receiving on wave number 157. And I'm not going to get a response. Now let me see if I can cut in kind of the middle of the transmission. See if I can get like the last transmission that comes through. Well, no, I might have timed that a little bit too late. But now that's back to 150, so flight, cover me. And I bet I get a response this time. Yeah, there we go. They called in 342. I thought it was always... They usually call in order. That's weird. But, okay, I'll take that as good. And was there anything else back here? No, I think that's it. So I think we've got the comm system figured out. Now, let me, while I'm right here and don't have to worry about flying the aircraft and flying it into the ground, looking around like I've been lucky that I haven't done that so far. I've had some close calls just looking around heads down, and especially a new aircraft. So, okay, Arc 5 radio navigation. Now, I know that the outer marker for this airfield is on 443 kilohertz. So what I need to do is set my Arc 5 panel to 443 so that I'm going to be able to get an indication on this gauge of the bearing to the transmitter. Now the main switch is on up here, so I need to go on this switch off compass antenna loop. Let me go to the... Okay, I start out in the antenna position, and now I just need to select the right frequency range. So I wanted 443, so I need to go to the 310 through 640 range. Okay, I see it. It has like a little scale here, and then depending on the position of the switch, it has the corresponding scale. Now to tune it. Okay, to tune, it is this one. That's a volume control, scale light, tuning. Okay, I've got like a little hand crank right here. And 443 would be possibly right there, and I'm going to get a little bit of a Morse code coming through. I'll turn up the audio so I can hear it. Okay, so the code that came through was dash dash or something. Anyway, let me look at the... I've got like a little a cheat sheet here. Okay, so 443 to Napa should be dash dot. And that did not sound like a dash dot. So let me tune this a little bit more. Actually, 430, 470. Okay, I see now. I was at the wrong spot altogether. Now 430 is right there. 433 should be right about there. So that should be 443. Okay, so I would have expected it a little bit further this way. 430, 440, 50, 60, 70. Right there. That's got to be it right there. So now let me listen up for the dash dot. And I've got nothing. Now I have one more control up here, and let me just kind of go around real quick and see if I can remember where all this stuff is. Now I have an ARC switch right down here. It's receive an ARC. For this function I wanted the ARC position just like it is. I have a near-far switch right here. Okay, so what I should be here is in the near position. Although I just did hear it come through. I talked right over. Let me listen up for the code here real quick and see if I can identify it. Okay, that's the code, so I know that that's the correct beacon right there. Now, it's in the far position right now, but if I put it to the near position, I don't hear anything. Okay. I'll leave it like that. That's working, but in theory at least, this should be in the near position for nearby beacons, far positions for far away beacons. Although maybe I've just got these mixed up. Maybe forward is near, back is far. We'll see. It's working right now in either case, so I really don't want to mess with it that much. Okay, so at this point, now we need to get this instrument telling us the way to go. So I think what I need to do here is go to the compass position, and this should guide around and point me in the right direction. Now, it is pointing directly out my nose, and the beacon that transmits is going to be dependent on the active runway. I've already forgotten what the active runway was, so let me go F5 and Napa, and let me abort takeoff and see if I can just get back to the taxi instruction where they do give me a active runway, but no, it's only allowing me to request takeoff. So let me try that one more time. ATC and Napa. It's just doing the request takeoff. We do that anyway, although I don't think I'm going to get a response. But at the very least, I can follow my flight around, and they'll show me what the active runway is. Okay, clear taxi runway 4. So runway 4 is actually, I'm heading 220. Runway 4 is reciprocal to that. So long story short, the beacon should be right out in front of me. I'm facing I'm facing 220, so the beacon, let me go to the F10 view real quick. This will be easier to explain there. Okay, so anyway, I'm sitting on the ramp here facing southwest. The beacon is going to be out here. It's the outer marker for the active runway, which is runway 04. So the beacon will be this one out here. So the beacon should be directly in front of me. If I go back to the cockpit, the beacon is directly in front of me, and as I turn the aircraft, I'll be able to do sort of like a little swing check as I taxi. As I taxi, this should continue to point in that direction no matter what the orientation of my aircraft is, and that's a premise behind navigating on a beacon like that. It's just going to point at the beacon. So I think I've got that figured out. That was actually way easier than I thought it would be. Now I've got the signal strength indicator right there. I can turn a light on if I want to. I've got an ARC loop switch that I believe will change the orientation of the loop antenna, and I could use that to fine-tune also the communication signal that I'm getting off the beacon. But I think that is all that there is to that. Now also I have a TLF and TLG switch. There's two separate modes here that the ARC-5 can work under. It can work under the telegraphy mode, which is not used, or it can work under the telephony. There's a word you don't hear every day. I think that's actually how you pronounce it, telephony mode, and that's the mode that we're using for all the navigation in DCS. So what I need to do now is just go ahead and taxi and start to do some more navigation when I'm in the air. So